Hi, writers. It's Megan in All Writers Welcome, coming at you live to talk about how to get good feedback on your writing. So I'm late because I was so excited to jump in and do this live that I opened up Facebook and I was like, live broadcast, go, without bothering to get into All Writers Welcome. So my apologies for being late. I think that's so funny. That's how eager I am. That's how excited. I was like, I want to talk about this topic, and I completely failed to do the things that would put me in the group. All right, but I'm here now. So I want to walk you through what I think are the 5 most important steps you can take to get good feedback for your writing. And as always, I would love to hear your questions, your comments, feedback from you. Okie doke. So the first thing to think about is what that word good means in good feedback. The very first step you have to take when you want good feedback is to be brutally honest with yourself and ask, am I looking for feedback, as in critique? Am I looking for support and guidance, and I've got a question and I need somebody who knows more about this than I do? Or am I just looking for some love? And guess what? Any one of those is a completely valid reason for reaching out. We as authors sometimes think that we have to go it alone. If you guys got the newsletter from us this morning, it started with the image of the cabin in the woods with the half-drunk bottle of scotch and the typewriter and the lonely writer sitting in there. That is not how writing needs to be. Writing is something that requires community. We need help and advice and support from other people. So that's the very first question. Are you really looking for feedback? Do you want critique? Or is this one of those times when you're like, I could really just use somebody saying, good job, you're doing it. And if there's anybody here who needs that support, I know I do, jump in the group. You guys, I'm down. Hey, I need some help. What's up? How do you get back on track when you're feeling low or when you're not writing? Jump in the group and get some support, get some community help. Because I guarantee you are not going to like the feedback you get if you ask for feedback and what you really wanted was, hey, that's really awesome, or, that's okay, I feel down too. Like if you're just looking for praise and you ask for feedback, you are more than likely going to be disappointed. So be really clear, be really honest with yourself. And also, is this a time when you can just ask your peers, or is this a question you need to ask a mentor? Is this a place where you need support from somebody who kind of knows what's up with writing? Okie doke. The second step to getting good feedback is to choose one aspect at a time. So once you know that you are definitely looking for feedback, you're not looking for praise, and you're not looking for support that's about more knowledge, help your critiquers by giving them a really clear focus. Do you want feedback about plot, pacing, word choice, character? I mean, there are so many different aspects to writing. And if you really need help with pacing and somebody is telling you that you should just have a totally different character here, you're going to be frustrated, right? Like that is not helpful to what I'm trying to do right now. So be really, really clear, focus, zoom in on just one piece so that you can get that good feedback. Okay. Third step in getting good feedback is to choose your audience. If you need some praise, putting things out in a public sphere might not be the best way to do it. Calling up somebody you trust maybe better, or going to a group that really loves the kind of writing that you're doing. Awesome, right? That they'll be super excited for what you're creating. Once you have chosen the appropriate group, introduce yourself. Now that might sound funny if you're thinking about talking to people but you need to introduce the part of yourself who is asking for this, right? So even with people who know us well, I do this with my close friends. Hey, right now, I want to tell you something and I just want to vent about it. I don't want solutions. Like, I just want you to say, oh, yeah, that is frustrating. Boy, Megan, sorry that happened. Right? Do you do this in your life? Do it in your writing too. Introduce the aspect of yourself that is sharing right now. So people know, are you looking for a problem to be solved? Are you looking for support? This is going back to step 1 of being honest about what you're looking for. You have to relay that to the people you're asking for feedback from. Okie doke. The fourth step, after you have been honest about what you want and then focused in on a specific place and introduced you and your work to your audience, is to specify your stats. Like, what do you write? If you write young adult fiction and you are looking for critique and you don't mention, hey, this is a book for, for 12 and 13-year-olds, you might get critique that says, hey, this is too pedantic, or it's too obvious, or where's all the sex and gore and all the good stuff? And of course, that's not what's appropriate to your genre. So if the best thing would be if you have a group that knows your genre well and knows what you're working on, if you have a community like in the All Writers Welcome Academy where we know what book you're working on, right? So when you come in and ask a question, there's a shorthand there because we know you are writing a love story that's got elements of ghosts in it, that is set in Ireland during the Great Potato Famine and then moves to modern times. Like, we already have that whole backstory, we know. And then when you are talking about a scene, we're like, ooh, well, based on your story, here's what would make sense. But if you don't have that, just make sure when you introduce what you're doing that you tell the genre, the length. What are you writing? If you are writing nonfiction, if you write a blog and your blog is read by people who are either professional photographers or photographers who really know their craft, they might not be doing it as a full-time job, but if they really know it and the feedback you get is, oh, well, there's too much jargon. No, not for my audience, right? My audience knows what all these photography terms mean, and I can just, throw them around. So you have to clearly explain what kind of writing you're doing in order to get feedback that helps you reach your goal. Okie doke. So the fifth step in getting good feedback is maybe the hardest one of all, especially here on the internet, and it is be gracious. If you want to continue getting feedback, you need to be able to receive feedback. Now, receiving feedback does not mean you do everything that every random Joe tells you to change your book. Receiving feedback simply means that in the moment, you say, okay, thanks. Now, you might say, okay, thanks, and then go, well, that's the worst advice ever, and I'm not going to use that. Totally fine. What you do with the feedback is your call. But in that moment, be gracious, accept it if you've asked for it, and move on. Avoid the temptation to defend, but do open a conversation. And the difference would be that when we're defensive, it invites other people to be defensive, and it makes a bad feeling back and forth and an argument. If we ask questions, we can engage. So I get feedback X, and I say, oh, okay, that's interesting. Now later, here's what's going to happen. Now, knowing that, do you still think X, or does that change your mind some, right? I'm asking for more information. I'm asking follow-up questions, basically. Yes, fantastic. That's great. Because you deserve quality feedback, and that means knowing where the question is coming from. Get to the root of the question. But you can do that by being gracious, and you can also do it without just having to accept every piece of advice that comes your way. And if you are in a public setting, if you're in this group, if you're anywhere on the web, avoid the urge to engage with somebody who's not offering you genuine feedback, but is just being disparaging. Just disengage. If somebody's being mean, rude, cruel, disengage. It's hard, but it's effective. It allows you to just, say, okay, not my issue. Let somebody argue with herself. Let her yell at the air. That's fine. But you don't need to be engaged in that. Okay. So I guarantee that this is going to get you higher quality feedback than simply saying, I wrote a book, I want to hear what you think about it. And also, I think you're going to be a lot happier as a writer when you're really clear on that first step. So let me go through the 5 steps again. The first step was really be honest with yourself. Do I want critique, or do I want support, or do I want even praise, which is fine. You guys, we all need loving sometimes. And then the second step was, if you've determined that it's, feedback or critique, choose one aspect at a time so that you can really help your readers and your critiquers focus. The third step was to choose your audience and to introduce yourself so they know, so you've picked the right place and they know what is the right kind of feedback for you. Then the fourth step was to specify what your writing is, the stats of your writing, so that they know, hey, for a young adult novel, this kind of critique is appropriate, but if you're writing a bone-chilling thriller, then different feedback would be appropriate. And the fifth step is to be gracious. So that first step is, very challenging sometimes, and that fifth step can be very, very challenging. But these are the kinds of things that get easier with practice, and you will be so thrilled with the more effective feedback that you're getting that I think it will be highly motivating. Okay, so if you have questions, I would love to hear them. I also want to remind you guys, we are doing, Ella and I are doing an open house in just over an hour, actually. And the link to join is in the comments. But we are going to be, as always, playing writing games and having fun and giving tips and answering questions. And we're going to be talking about the All Writers Welcome Academy. We're going to be going into a little bit more depth. And you guys will have a sneak peek. If you're not already in the Academy, this will be your sneak peek at what the courses are that are already up, and also what the courses are that are on their way, that are coming soon, that we're actually building right now. And one of the reasons we have these open houses is because we want to hear from you writers. We want to know what your wish list is. What do you wish you had access to in terms of courses, resources, and step-by-step guides for self-publishing, for marketing your books, and for all of the pieces that go along with self-publishing. So we'd really love to hear from you. Again, you can come to the open house by registering in that link. And let's keep this conversation going. If you have a really fantastic strategy for getting good feedback, put it in the comments. Help out your fellow writers. This is a kind of, it's not just a relevant conversation to this group, it's actually the kind of thing that can make this group a fun place for us to be, or a less fun place. Because when we as writers are asking for feedback in a helpful way, then other people can give feedback in a helpful way. And when we're missing some of these steps about how to ask for what we need and want, then the feedback other people give us, yeah, that sounded weird. It doesn't match up, and it can build like a feeling of resentment. Oh, I wanted this, but I got that. And also, this is a good reminder, don't give feedback if it's not asked for. Sometimes people are posting in this group and they're not specifying, hey, I want feedback. People are just like, oh, I wrote this poem, or I wrote this blog post, or, check out my book. And a great way to make this a more fun and a more welcoming space for all of us to be is to respect that line. Why would you put work in if somebody isn't saying, I want feedback? That's fine. Just pass it by or read it and enjoy it. So we want everybody here to get effective critique when it's something that would be useful, but if it's not being asked for, just let it float on by. We have a question here. So you are a la carte courses being, are the courses in the Academy a la carte? No, actually, when you sign up for the Academy, you just get access to all the courses. So it's everything that's in the Academy, plus the live weekly coaching calls, and we alternate. 1 week it's a writing call with me, and 1 week it's a mindset and marketing and self-publishing call with Ella. But yeah, Dana, once you come into the Academy, it's all there. And right now we have early adopters who are really awesome people who are like, ooh, I want to get things started. I want to give feedback. I want to give suggestions. And they've helped guide us in the courses that we're building. And as I said, we're still building, we're still creating new course material. But what we already have available for the early adopters are courses and the what's the word I'm looking for? Forums, where people are asking questions and saying, giving resource advice. I'm looking for a resource about how, what would a lumberjack do if a tree started coming down the wrong way? I don't know. Well, my uncle's a lumberjack, and here's the story he told me. And then you're also getting access to the live coaching calls, and with such a small group right now, what that means, of course, is you're getting a lot more individualized and one-on-one help from both me and Ella. So I hope that answered your question. It's all included. You can work at your own pace. You can do the courses that interest you, and save others for later. It's all about getting you what you need right now, in a way that's organized, so that you know like which courses will help you achieve which goals, but that you can really do it at your own pace and feel like you can go for what's useful to you in the moment. Okie doke. If there are more questions, we've got a question from the lovely Fiona Sky, who says she has a beta reader's questionnaire that she sends along with her manuscript, and she's given us a link to it on her Dropbox. Wow, super generous. Thank you so much, Fiona. That is fantastic. So if you want like more details, right? These were the big pieces about what attitude basically will help you get good feedback. But Fiona is offering you guys access to what she sends with manuscripts to people who are going to beta read for her, so that she makes sure she gets good feedback. That is awesome. Okay, I'm totally going to be checking that out. Yay, and you guys should too. Also, there was a conversation earlier today about using cloud storage. And I know you guys already know I'm a Google Docs gal and I love it, but Dropbox is one of the other services that came up. So this could be double duty. Go check out Fiona's awesome resource about giving good or getting good feedback, and it'll be an opportunity for you to kind of check out Dropbox and see what that's like, so you can see if you want to use it for your cloud storage. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. I will sign off, and I hope I will see you in tonight's open house in just a little bit. All right. Take care. Bye.